You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is November 15th, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Michigan City Park Board meeting for November 15th. If you could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Shannon, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Latchford.
Here.
Mr. Freeze.
Here.
Mr. Wood.
Here. The minutes from our November 1st meeting were prepared in advance and presented. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to review. So unless there are any corrections or comments, motion to approve.
Would move we accept the minutes from as printed from November 1.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, any project updates, old business, or table business?
No, sir.
All right, new business. We have the Milne Enterprise construction agreement for the old bandstand reservation project.
Yes, included in your packet is the project schedule. We have negotiated a contract that falls within our budget. The contract itself has been reviewed by the Park Board attorney and also our insurance carrier, and I would recommend that the Park Board approve that tonight. We can move forward with the construction.
Thank you, Shannon. Questions or comments? Questions or comments from the public? My only comment, I just want to kudos to taking a bad situation that came in way over budget and finding ways to make the project work. So well done. You're welcome. Do I have a motion to approve the construction agreement for the old bandstand preservation project?
I would move that we accept this construction agreement.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carried.
All right, the Harbor County Adventures 2024 Memorandum of Understanding for use of Millennial Plaza.
Yes, this was also included in your packet. This is renewing their existing agreement for another 3 years. Just to remind the board, they program the plaza for us. They provide the furnishing, porta pots, hot machines. They also program the plaza with some free events, some ticketed events, a farm market, and the park still retains the right to utilize and rent that plaza on the dates that they don't have shows. So this has also been reviewed by our insurance carrier and the attorney, and it's for a 3-year term, 2024, or beginning May 1st, 2024, renewable annually. I would recommend it.
Thank you, Shannon, for that summary. And just to be sure, there are no other changes other than the dates from our previous contract?
The only change is we did put a clause in that they have to turn in a financial report, which they go year on this year. Okay, included that in the package.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Questions from the public? See none, do I have a motion to approve the Harbor County Adventures 2024 MOU for the use of Millennial Plaza?
I would move it, excuse me, accept the Harbor County Adventure 2024 Memorandum of Understanding as printed before us.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Good luck. Windy City Kite Sports 2024 MOU for the use of Washington Park Beach.
And this is the same agreement as last year, only the dates have changed. Been approved by the attorney and the insurance carrier. Mike from Windy City has been outstanding to work with, so I definitely recommend that we renew for another year.
Thank you, Shannon. And you said same contract as previous years?
Correct.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Did I miss it, or what does it cost per lesson? What's
A lot of costs vary. He used to pay us 10% of our his lessons, and then I think it was 2 years ago, Our insurance carrier said, there's less liability to the city if he does a one-time annual payment for the use of the space. So that's what he's doing now. We just averaged his first 5 years, so it's $150.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Questions from the public? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the Windy City Kite 2024 MOU.
I would move we accept the MOU with the city, Windy City Kite Sport Organization.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, Fish Camp Restaurant Horse and Carriage Ride Request.
Yeah, Fish Camp has done this several times down at their restaurant. They're looking to have a horse and carriage ride. I provided you with a map. So some of it's on our property and some of it's on the porch property. The Board of Works approved this at their meeting on last Monday. I think it's November 6th. This is for restaurant patrons only, and they will have a horse handler and a driver on staff, and the full run Saturday and Sunday, December 16th and 17th from 4 to 8:30 p.m.
Thank you, Shannon. Questions or comments from the board?
Yes, I noticed the fee. Is that per rider or per ride?
Right.
Per ride.
Looking at the map, there's a mistake, I think. When they head east on Lakeshore Drive, they wouldn't be in the going against traffic, would they?
And what's that? No, that's just an error. Yeah, they'll head east going through the park entrance, back through the other. Back to Fish Camp.
So that red arrow should be on the other side.
I know.
If we, would you like it to be up to me to make sure that the carriage owner knows this?
Yeah,
Okay.
according to the arrows, he'd be going
Mm-hmm.
head on.
They know it's the return.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions or comments? Questions from the public? Yes, sir. Please go to the mic either right behind you or come up front. It works. Welcome.
Thank you. Bruce Matter, Michigan City Port Authority. Have you reached out to the Port Authority over this with these carriage rides that are going to be taking place on our property?
So the request was submitted to the park board and the Board of Works by Fish Camp Restaurant. So they would need to reach out to the Port Authority. I assumed they would have done that as soon as they got Board of Works approval. Yeah, I can shoot them an email in the morning and let them know they need your permission, if they are aware of that.
Yeah, because I'm not aware of this in terms of our meetings. It's never been discussed amongst us, so I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, I'll make it sure it's on your next agenda.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm assuming they waited for Board of Works and they got on our agenda.
Well, I'll talk to our people down there and see if they have been contacted. If they have, they haven't passed it on to our board. So I'll take a look at it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manor. Any other public comment? See none, we have a motion to approve the Fish Camp Restaurant Horse and Carriage Ride Request.
Well, I move we accept the as printed with the condition that the Board of Works and or the Port Authority also grants permission.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, next we have the Sunset Grove Tenant Credit Request.
Thank you, Mr. Latchford. I ask tonight that the board will table this item from the agenda and to let you know I will need more information before I can make a recommendation.
All right, thank you. Do you have a motion, unless there are questions or comments, we have a motion to table this until our
I would move we
December-
table this until our next meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now we have the 2024 membership fees for the zoo.
The food director gave me talks here tonight to present the fees and also a Twilight tour be added to their 2024 event development.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. So this is just to bring up our membership fees, which are annual from the time they buy it, good for 1 year, to bring it more into account with our new increased parking and admission fees. So there's not much of an increase, made it $5, just help offset some of the vet care cost and other expenses that have skyrocketed our budget.
Thank you. Questions or comments for the zoo director?
No, as I read this, I got out my pass and it's still good till next August.
So these passes, they're the same as what is commonly referred to as the Zoo Society membership pass?
Yes, it's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
thank
do a split in the MOU, but we're trying to keep up the costs with increased veterinary costs, which offsets, which pays for these, the membership pay for the vet costs. So you want to make sure that we're going to increase the vet care amount, that we can offset that increase with the memberships to back it up.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? I liked your twilight idea, giving the opportunity to come in the evening to see the animals, a little different perspective.
Yep, that one, we did get that on the last events. We have the open to the public. This is just an extra. If you want to do a more behind the scenes tour and actually meet some of the animals, but we're trying just the one night would be the night of the Sandcastle event, hoping to get some of the out of town people in the zoo at night, hear the wolves howling and the cats roaring. It'd be a neat thing in the dark. But we'll do one in the fall too, just to see if they're popular, and a few more throughout the summer. We just wanted just to see how they work out.
Very good, thank you.
Jamie, I don't have any problem because I have a grandparent pass, but the dual, what if I were to have my name on there and I may want to rotate guests because it says guest name? What if can I put?
Yeah, we just changed it from couple to dual to be more, I guess, politically correct. And that way you can use either child and adult or adult.
But I don't have, do I have to put another name on there? What if I were a gigolo and had a lot of different people?
One per your time in, you're good to go.
Okay.
It says named guest.
Yeah, and his name guest, but guest is also guest.
Thank you.
Any other board comments? Public comments? What's the pleasure of the board?
I would move that we accept the 2024 membership pass program as detailed in our report.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I guess I got ahead of myself a little bit. Now on the agenda is the Zoo Twilight Tour event request. Anything to explain, or you basically explained it already?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have any questions, answer?
Any questions from the board?
Is there a $15 per person? That's kids also $15?
Yeah, to be, if you want to do the extra admission, it's just regular admission, but if you want the tour, it's the same price you charge for regular tours. And that includes, meeting some of the animals, and a one-on-one tour at the staff time. We basically figured out the amount of staff time that it takes to do a tour, and we figured out for that cost.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Public comment? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board?
I would pass or move that we pass the Zoo Twilight request for tour events.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, another zoo item now. We have a request for proposals for window replacement, tree work, gate installation, roof replacements, and electric service upgrade.
So basically, we're doing the policy, so that those are the specs that we're gonna try to send out to companies to place bids on for some projects that we will need to start as soon as the season or the budget's released for the new year. That way, we'd be ready to go before we open for the season. Some of these projects have a big, I guess, timeline issue with between the weather and scheduling. So we want to get it done as soon as we can for the companies to get us in.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
on the last page, you had an estimate price for the electrical update. Is it just, I didn't see any bids or prices on any of the other things. Is that?
That one was an emergency one. That one's dealing with the heater. That
The
needs to be upgraded, yeah.
Okay.
That one needs to be upgraded so that heater won't keep burning out or have a fire issue. So that was the only one that's emergency. The other ones are just regular purchases that would go up for bids.
Okay.
But we had to get a few quotes because that's such a specialized field. I wouldn't be comfortable of saying what electrical elements needed to be safe. So then we did get help seeing what it needed to be up to code to keep the area heated.
Heck, I wondered why there wasn't any other.
Yeah,
Price.
that's the only one. Yeah, other ones go out for bids with the whole bid policy, the purchase policy with the city, and we'll get our bids and come back for approval.
Just one follow-up question on electrical service, emergency repair. You're not waiting for that to be, for budgets to be passed or anything. You're going ahead with that repair?
We have money in that project, or grant, the Wings of Wonder exhibit, that will cover that expense.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the request for the window replacement, tree work, gate installation, roof replacements, and the electrical service upgrade under emergency repair procedure or policy?
I would move that we accept this request for all the aforementioned 5 articles on a handout.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, now we have the spray technician proposal.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
As you recall, last season, we were in a little bit of a pickle with our application of pesticides at the golf course. So I was in the position to ask the board to approve a special purchase, which was an emergency purchase to contract a spray technician. I was given a verbal by the last technician that he would train our hired assistant superintendent in the field of spraying and applying pesticides and fertilizers to the golf course. I ask that you approve of my request for proposal to send out for the exact same service. And this would be for a spray technician on a contractual basis. It's not an emergency purchase like it was last year, but I will say that the amount of time it takes for our new assistant superintendent to learn the trade is more than 1 season. If you notice in the scope of work for the proposed or bidder on the quotes, that I've added that the spray technician that is going to be hired, if you approve of this, will actually have in his scope of work and specifications to provide application training to our assistant green superintendent. So I ask you that you allow me to send this out for bid and hire a spray technician for another season while our assistant superintendent learns the trade in its full capacity, so it will be safe for the golf course. Tonight we do have our assistant superintendent, Dane Bush, and he's here to answer any questions if you like on his first season as an assistant superintendent, his obtaining his license, and his ability to be trained, and the fact that it will take another season. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Questions or comments from the board?
Appreciate your checking with Blackthorn, Mr. Quickstad. I thought his response was very nice. That now I know why my yard is not looking very good. I looked up between the fungicide, herbicide, fertilizer, and pesticide. Gotta make sure you get the right stuff. Maybe next summer it'll be green.
It is a science.
And I like the fact that you added in his job description, being responsible for training.
Yeah.
Just wonder if we need to add anything else in there that establishes some benchmark or some milestones that need to be met throughout the year, just to ensure that it's happening, whether not putting the burden on our spray technician, not putting the burden necessarily on who's ever going to win this contract, but I think we just want to make sure there's progress being made. So by the end of next season, we have someone in-house fully capable, and we're not caught off guard by having to enter in this contract again next year.
Very good. I'll be glad to do that and report to you on the language.
Yeah, we probably want to get this out, but it's somehow between this and there, we need a bridge to make sure that's established.
Mhm.
I'm not sure the best way, whether we can add. Sure.
The board is only approving the RFQ documents tonight. The quotes are due on December 6th. The board cannot sign a contract for this until the 2024 budget opens on January 1st.
Great.
So that would give you ample time between the 6th of opening those, creating a contract. That contract cannot be signed until your first meeting of January, so.
Fantastic.
that added to the actual agreement.
So maybe you can work with everyone and then say, these are the attributes that need to be accomplished, whether it's permitting with the state, whether it's just general knowledge, whether it's, there's got to be some qualifications, and have a timeline when those need to be done so that everyone's on track to get it done.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
Sure. So if we can have that ready when we actually have to sign the contract later in the month, that'd be great,
Okay.
or next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Is there a course of study that has to be followed and like an exam or something that has to be?
Can I ask Mr. Dane Bush to expound on that?
Yeah, thank you.
I would like to introduce you to him anyway. Dane, this is Phil and Tim.
Good evening and welcome.
Yes, there is actually an exam I have to schedule intake, and I have already ordered study materials, but basically all I have to do is pass this exam and then be trained by, at this moment, it's currently Tony is who sprays for us, but yes, so I basically pass the exam and then get trained by him, and I'm good to spray after that. And he's already done a very well job of teaching me stuff already. It's just a matter of we don't have a ton of people to work in the golf course in general, so I have to spend a lot of my time doing other stuff other than learning to spray.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thanks for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Just get the answers right away, and carving time out of your free time to come here means a lot. Appreciate it.
I'm happy to do it. Thank you.
You're doing a very good job. Thank you.
Any other board questions? If not, any questions from the public? Seeing none, do we have approval for the golf course request for proposals for the spray technician? Motion to approve, I should say.
I would move, we have the, pass the RFQ and professional service agreement for the contractual of spraying for a spraying technician.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, now we have the IDEM Beach Act grant for water quality testing and notification.
Just to remind the board, this is a grant that we've gotten annually for, I want to say, close to 2 decades now from Indiana Department of Environmental Management. We use this grant money to subcontract with the sanitary district to do E. coli testing at Washington Park Beach, California F Beach, and the beach at Beach Walk. They also do additional testing on their pH balance, turbidity, total suspended solids, and some other things just to maintain the quality of our water, but also to give us some data for modeling metrics. So this costs our department nothing as far as paying the lab. What we're responsible for is receiving the data on a daily basis and notifying the public of the water quality, whether it is drained which is good. Yellow, use caution, or red, where we're supposed to be.
Thank you, Shannon. Questions or comments from the board? My only two comments. One is it's a great program, obviously. I think a lot of people rely on the information in order to go into the water. Some don't, but a lot do. And secondly, you mentioned predictive modeling. Have we been able to leverage any of that information yet?
We haven't. Right now, IDEM's working with a few universities on a new predictive model. We did participate for 8 years in one of the models, and a few of the beach communities actually used the prediction to notify the public. I wasn't comfortable doing that because the model had not been tested long enough, and I'm glad we didn't, because it did predict closures on days when we were green. So economically, that's a very dangerous thing to use data that's not really, in my opinion, been tested enough. That model has been replaced with a new one that will start in the 2024 season. So a lot of this data will be fed into it. But yes, across the nation, everyone is looking for predictive models or real-time or quick-time testing. Right now, the water is tested. It goes to the lab. It's 24 hours before you get a result. So it's too late. Now we can predict it on rainfall and wind direction and things of that nature, but I think it's important to keep participating in this, because the more data they can feed into the models, the closer we'll get to having something that's accurate for you.
Thank you. Do you have any idea how close we are to some real-time test results?
I don't, because I really believe the last model with all the years of data and how many beaches were contributing would have been more successful, but it was.
Do real-time tests exist and it's a cost issue?
It's a cost issue. They run around $1,200 per test.
Oh, wow.
So right now we do 7 tests per day in Washington Park, and stop 2 and stop 7. So they're cost prohibitive. The federal government does not grant money for those tests at this point, but yeah, that's our hope for the entire nation, that we get quick time tests. We go out in the morning and within an hour or two, we have accurate data.
Thank you.
Well,
If there are no other board questions or comments.
And this is IDEM. Do the grant, the 37.8 comes from the state of Indiana, or is that a federal?
it's federal that goes down through the state.
It's just the Indiana Department of Environment. Does the Coast Guard use any of this, or have a need to use?
Coast Guard's eligible. This grants for municipalities that have beaches on it.
Okay, I was just curious if they would use it for anything. Thank you.
I mean, they may use the data, so the data is an open platform that anyone can get. That's why we're kind of working with the university, because the old data that we've collected over all these years could be useful to them.
It's interesting, just a wild thought. We have many of our counties, Lake and Porter and LaPorte, participating in the same testing.
They are. So they do all, LaPorte County does all the inland lakes through the LaPorte County Health Department using the same grant funding.
If we staggered the tests throughout the day, I'm just wondering if we could leverage the other communities at all to get some sort of rolling. And if, let's say, all the tests come back pretty much identical, so that the whole southern lake, it's all the beaches are closed or they're all open. If we staggered some of the testing, might be able to get information sooner than once a day for opening or closures.
It would be extremely rare for the beaches that participate in Northwest Indiana to be closed on the same day. I think I've seen that once in all the years we've been doing this. And it was after like 100-year rain. But typically the beaches to the west of us are closed way more often. Stop 7 is the cleanest out of all the sites that we test for, but there's so many variables between the beaches. There's ditches and rivers and animal runoff and offshore currents different. So I see what you're saying, but our stats are all over the board when you start comparing the different communities side by
Gotcha.
side.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any public comment? Seeing none, we have a motion to approve the IDEM Beach Act grant for water quality testing and notification.
I would move we accept that.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next few items are all approval for requests for quotes for 2024 to 2026. And the first is pest control.
So these are just our standard requests for quotes, packets. They've been approved by the attorney and again by the insurance company. These are for services for pest control, porta pot services, trash collection, and Millennium Plaza landscaping services for the years 2024 to 2026. They do need to be approved annually, but this gives them a 3-year contract. If mutually agreeable, we would renew the following 2 years.
Thank you, Shannon. So unless there's an objection, and I'll get some more information first, we can take all 4 of these since they're basically identical. It's just going out for pest control, porta pot services, trash collection, Millennial Plaza, all for the same term, 2024 to 2026. All the same process of notification to bidders, all the same timeline. Everything accurate so far, Shannon?
Correct.
So unless there's an objection from the board, we take all 4 and approve them. But we can address any questions first if there's no objection. And it doesn't appear there is an objection. So any questions or comments from the board? Any questions from the public?
I just wonder if we're happy with who is providing the service now in all 4 areas.
We are. Yes, we're very pleased with our current vendors. This is the 3rd year for all 4 of those. If we had issues, we would address them at the end of each calendar year. If we're not happy with their service, the board would have the ability to refit the contract.
So Mr. Glidden, we've been in this spot before if porta pots comes up where we were happy with our vendor and questioned whether we should put it out for bid because we were so happy with the vendor, and this new vendor came in and they were below the cost. So we went with the new vendor, even though we had a relationship with the past one. The new vendor's been fantastic. So it's just a process that we go through to.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Public comment. Seeing none. So do we have a motion to approve request for quotes for 24 through 2026 for pest control, porta pot services, trash collection services, and Millennial Plaza landscaping?
I would make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, now we have the approval for adding section 11 to the department's purchasing policy.
Yeah, so this request comes because the city council recently passed an ordinance number 4714, which allows city departments to make down payments to contractors, to purchase materials with the board's permission. I think it's a good ordinance. I know that we have a lot of smaller contractors in Michigan City and try to use because they're local, but on larger projects, they would have cash flow difficulties buying a lot of the equipment up front. So this would just allow that. The ordinance in its entirety was included in your package.
Thank you, Shannon. Questions or comments from the board? My only comment, we're just updating our purchasing policy to be compliant with the new ordinance.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you. Any questions from the public? Seeing none, do we have approval for adding section 11 to our park department purchasing policy?
I would move that we add 11.0 on the purchase policy for supplies, equipment, and services.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion.
All right, we have 3 resolutions next. And as we normally do, I'll read the preamble to the first one, and the other 2 will be the same, and we'll just read the guts of the other 2, unless there's an objection. All right, resolution number 1023, whereas the superintendent of the Department of Parks and Recreation has reported that certain transfer funds are necessary within the within the budget of the Michigan City Department of Parks and Recreation because of unanticipated expenses from various accounts, which accounts do not have sufficient funds available for said expenses, and whereas there are funds available for said expenses in various other accounts which are not expected to be paid from said accounts during the remainder of the budget year, and whereas the Michigan City Parks and Recreation Board has determined that said expenses are necessary and that account transfer should be made in order to meet said expenses, now therefore be resolved that the following transfer be made from the following named accounts to the following named accounts for the purposes stated therein. Decrease fund, 2507 concession fund, electric, 750, contractual, 5,500, and seasonal wages, 8,000. Increase fund, 2507 concession fund, office supplies, 550, tools, 200, and other supplies, 13,500. Unless there are questions or comments, we have a motion to approve resolution 1023.
Can I ask what would we spend 13,500 on?
I want to say that that was for holiday lighting.
So it's for purchasing a desk and computer to put in the admission office at the zoo. So during their slow times, that person is working right now and double as doing the office work, which improves their efficiencies. The rest was for storage crates, zip ties, and other supplies, and to cover purchases of gift shop product at the convention. If you recall, you just approved Sean going to the gift show convention, so part of it for that.
Thank you.
Well,
Any other questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve resolution 1023?
I would move we accept resolution 1023.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution 1024, decrease fund, 2505 zoo education fund, $453, and increase fund, 2505 other supplies, $453. Unless there are questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve resolution 1024?
I would move we accept resolution number 1024.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Resolution number 1025, decrease fund, 2204 zoo fund, seasonal wages, 9,000, equipment rental, 142, printing and advertising, 55. Increase fund, 2204 zoo fund, charges and fees, 9,000, other supplies, 197.
And once again, what was the 9,000 before?
I want to say the 9,000 is for the furnace that needed to be replaced. No,
No, it's to increase charges and fees. That's our credit card fees that we pay out for, anyone that uses the credit card at the zoo. All of our budgets were extremely low in this category. So we did get them straightened out for 2024. As an example, the parking operation, which is about 40% credit card purchases, had $100 for credit card fees. So we're continuously transferring money, but we straightened it out with the controller this year, but that's what it's for, to cover the year end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And do we have a motion to approve resolution 1025?
I would move we accept resolution number 1025.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Any other new business that didn't make the agenda that we need to attend to? All right, report of officers, Mr. Shin.
thank you, Mr. Latchford. This evening, I would like to discuss park and golf maintenance and show some pictures of the two capital projects, senior center, which is half complete, and the golf clubhouse that is in the beginning stages. I would like to start out by saying that the park maintenance and golf maintenance crews are not fighting, but they're working very diligently to contain the leaves and remove the leaves from the golf course and the outlying parks and Washington Park. So getting to the slides, here is a picture that we've all been waiting for. If you haven't seen it already, this is the senior center project where the offices have been removed, giving that view to Lake Michigan. And if you stand there, you do see Lake Michigan. And the flooring, as you can see there, is about a quarter of the way complete. So that's a closer view. That's where the offices were. You can see that the lay-in grid ceiling tile are not there yet. Maybe the next slide will show. Go ahead. That is the southeast corner of the facility, and with the new flooring. And that is the office area with 2 offices, and that is the framing. That is the kitchen with its new ceramic tile. And also, I want to say that Holiday Construction, who's doing a very good job and timely job on the senior center, offered volunteers that came out and gave a facelift to this trellis. It was very dirty, it needed power washing, and they painted a first coat. If you'll get to the next slide, we'll show you how dirty that was. That's a picture of them power washing. So the volunteers came out, washed it from Holiday, and gave it a first coat of primer. And our maintenance crew, they're washing it still. Our maintenance staff, Martin Ruback, came out, and there it is painted, came out and gave it the last final 2 coats. So our park maintenance did a great job too, painting this trellis. There it is with a clean look. And there are the offices that Tara and her assistants will be in. That's 1 and that's 2. And there's the lay-in grid ceiling that the contractor put back very well, which is always important after a remodel job like this. There's the kitchen with its equipment, and also our park maintenance were the people that took all of that equipment out while the floor was replaced. And there's the floor in the rest of the room, halfway complete. This job should be done in the middle of December. There is a picture of our next capital project, which is in the beginning stages, working with President Latchford and Shannon Eason and myself. Together, we're looking at a facelift of this clubhouse at the golf course. And as you can see, from 150 feet away or 100 feet away, a building looks very good. But in many years, this building was built in 1948. In many years of, I won't say neglect, but very difficult times to maintain. I'll give you an idea. You can go to the next slide. Now there's some retaining walls. We'll see some close-ups. There it looks, again, very good from 150 feet away, but we all took a close look. Here's an example of a basement room that had a fan that is now abandoned and creating condensation. So we're getting prices for this for a budget. There is a porch that permeates water. It holds water. One of the next pictures will show you how this holds water. There's a retaining wall that shows just a portion of the work that's going to have to be done on the retaining walls. There's an idea to show you the work that has to be done on the retaining walls, tuck pointing, painting and scraping. We'll be getting here into some other items that need repair. If you look close on a building, you see a lot. There's the capstones that need to be installed. There's a soffit material that needs to be replaced, tongue and groove. It's got no venting, and that's going to be something that we're going to repair to stop some damage on the inside of the building. I'll show you later. There's the gable material that needs painting, surface prep, and crack filling. So that will go with the paint job. There's more soffit material. And I'm just going through these things to show you what we're looking at first, to get budget figured out and to make sure we have spent this money wisely. And there is an example of the inside countertop that we've lived with for quite a few years at this golf course. It seems to be in the place in the way of having a nice lounge. So this is going to be taken apart, and a smaller counter will be added at some location to be determined later. And there's the countertop that takes up so much space. So there's an example of the water that permeates through the concrete. This is one of the items that we have to take care of first. It's possibly a structural problem. And there's the inside of that ceiling of that concrete that needs to be addressed, and that would be filling those cracks. According to the engineer, we do not need to put a beam in, which will be a lot less money than we anticipated. And there's another example of water getting through the concrete cracks and condensation building up, where we're going to put a ventilation system in these 2 basement rooms. And that's an example of the condensation that builds up on the ceilings. But our club, our golf course manager has put fans in there to stop this effect as best we can for now. Here's an example of 3 years ago that we had mold on the ceilings. The mold on the ceilings had to be taken away. Our in-house staff removed the drywall. We hired a company to come in and replace the drywall, and we checked, and we did notice that at the peak, there was some insulation that was noticeably properly installed. However, by working with one of the golfers in our golf community that donates a lot of his time, he crawled up into the attic, and we do have some concerns that this roof may not be ventilated as well, and that will also be part of this project to ventilate this open peaked roof. There's the peaked roof after it was fixed 2 years ago, and this is what's happening today. So the replacing the drywall and checking the insulation at the peak did not stop the condensation. So we're going to have to look at this further, and that'll be in this project. There's an example of the cart paths that we're going to be, it's also in the capital project, and the parking lot of the clubhouse, and these will be re-asphalted as well. And that takes care of it. That's an overview of the bench. So I want to thank Mr. Latchford for coming up with the idea that we need to be cautious of the spending and to get pricing for the most important items. And then we'll look at the inside of the interior of the building after we do so. And I should have that by next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shin. Questions or comments for the superintendent?
I'd just like to say thank you to the volunteers from Holiday Construction for cleaning the entranceway. Thank you very much.
I'll tell them you said so.
Any other questions for the superintendent?
Just about the golf course, I know a lot of my friends are golfers, and one of their complaints is the golf cart paths. They trying to avoid the holes.
Yes, and that was approved by the council and the mayor and the controller that we will be adding asphalt to the cart paths. The engineer said that we did not have to mill them down to gravel, that we could go over the existing cart paths.
Oh, really?
In most areas, yes.
Well, good.
When will the lights, when's the festival or on the?
December 2nd, I think, is the first night. Is that correct?
That first Saturday.
I was right on one of my guesses.
Thank you. Any vandalism report?
There was some vandalism again at the bandstand, and there was also some vandalism at the, which park was that, Pat? At North Point? Oh, the accessible wheelchair lift onto the stage was ransacked and damaged, but Mr. Volz can fix that.
When you said a bandstand, is that the George Foreman or the George?
No, it wasn't. It was actually the Relic, the bandstand that Shannon is working on being renovated. There was some writing on the railings and some carving of names.
Okay.
But Mrs. Eason is working on some way to deter that.
Thank you. All right, the liaison reports are next. I'm the planning commission liaison, and there has not been a meeting since our last meeting. Port Authority.
There was a meeting, but nothing of concern for us.
Thank you. And the Zoological Society, Mr. Glidden.
They have not met since our last meeting.
Thank you. Any attorneys' reports or directors' reports?
No, sir.
All right, Department Finances, Mr. Glidden.
I have the claims docket for November 15th, 2023, municipal, $79,099.56. That's the total claim, $79,099.56. I would move that we meet the claims docket.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I have the payroll for number 22 for 2023, October 15th through October 28th, pay date 11/3, and it is $80,915.49. I move we meet the payroll for this period.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I have a list of gifts and donations. Phil Freeze, donation, pantries in the park, $300. Forest Park Zoological Society, Zoo, sale of the Bennett Wallaby, $2,200. Teresa and Tom Sarah, Zoo donation Wolf Deck Project, $100. Everett Collins, Zoo donation Wolf Deck Project, $100. Linda Simon, Zoo donation Wolf Deck, $100. The Anderson family, Zoo donation miscellaneous, $100. Scott Buck, Zoo donation Wolf Deck Project, $50. An anonymous donation of art, $100. I would move that we accept these generous donations.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Minor transfers from the concession fund, decrease account 42422.031 household supplies, 675. Decrease account 429.005 miscellaneous merchants Peacock, $10,000. Increase account office supplies, $675. Increase account other supplies, $10,000. Zoo fund, decrease account 411.014 seasonal wages, $7,200. Decrease account 422.032 medical supplies, $111. Decrease account 43.091 services charge education, $475. Increase account regular wages, $1,200. Increase account overtime, $6,000. Increase account other supplies, $111. Increase account contractual, $475. And I would move that we make these minor transfers. A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Credit card charges totaling $3,070.37 were paid to corporate payment systems for the following: Amazon.com Art Committee custom stickers, $51.96. Amazon.com Art Administration card stock envelopes, ribbons, $47.27. Carhartt.com maintenance staff jackets enhanced, $2,080.80. Holiday Coro.com maintenance megatree topper holiday lights, $44.21. Amazon.com senior center chairs keyboard tray, $362.96. Amazon.com maintenance shrink wrap for holiday lights, $82.97. Amazon.com senior center office chair, $292.95. Amazon.com senior center paintings office chair, $107.25. And I would move that we approve these credit card charges. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Glidden, any comments from the public tonight? Yes, sir.
Is that your signature? I think it's you.
Thank you.
Bruce Manor, Michigan City Port Authority. This doesn't have anything to do with the Port Authority or the Park Board, but I just wanted to make a comment, and I think the Park Board is probably already aware of this, that the federal government is working on a deal to try to not fund the Michigan City Coast Guard any longer. And that would be a disaster for our area. We would have to go up into Chicago for help, or we'd have to go up into Michigan for help. And as a comment to the public, anyone, I don't have a whole lot of information about it right now. I didn't bring that information, but for the public and the Park Board and the people that are attending this meeting and stuff, it would be great if we could get some people, and we are doing this, reaching out to the federal government and trying to get some statistics about how important it is for us to keep this Coast Guard in Michigan City. So that's just a comment I wanted to put out there for the public and for the Park Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manor. I think we'd all agree that that would be a tragic loss to have that Coast Guard office close. Any other public comment? Board comment?
Mr. Mayor's right, Chicago, and the next closest would be north would be St. Joe, Michigan, I believe. So if it were a real dire emergency, of course, I think they have helicopters, but nothing like having one in your own backyard.
I would just like to remind everybody that we say we're going to do something about parking at Patriot Park, that we need to stay on top of that. We're just 5 months away, 4 or 5 months away from soccer and softball and baseball all being played on the same day, that we need to keep in mind that with the parking, for safety reasons, it's not adequate, that we need to do something.
Agreed. Thank you, Mr. Glidden. Any other comments? Well, our next meeting is Wednesday, December 6th, 5 PM right here. Motion to adjourn.
So move.